Nice of you to join us, brother.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Welcome to my podcast.
Oh, your podcast?
Yeah.
This is mine.
Oh, okay. Can I have something here?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everybody. I'm Mr. Smiley, and this is
The Great Dr. Love.
the Dr. Love. If you guys know our history,
There's some
this
history.
is amazing.
Right. You would never think that you and I could sit down and do an interview together.
Never.
Without somebody getting hit with a chair, going through a table, or even just a punch to the mouth.
That's right. That's right.
And with that, I do thank you for having me on your
Thank you,
podcast.
sir.
And as a little bit, brother, I know you're not a big drinker these days, nor am I, but why don't you do a one shot with me?
As a peace offering.
As a peace offering.
I will.
All right.
Heck yeah, man.
Loosen it up a little bit.
Loosen it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Salute to you, sir.
You too.
Oh.
That does hit the spot.
Woo! All right. With that. That was good.
A little warm.
I gotta get this chaser going.
All right. We're not as young as we once were.
We are not. We are not. All right. Okay, guys. For real, that's pretty big. If you guys know our history, a lot of the IPW fans will know our history.
Right.
And as I feel it is, I was the number one face, number one good guy.
You carried the promotion for a while on your shoulders.
You are our number one bad guy.
The one that everybody loved to hate. Loved to hate me.
So, what got you into wrestling? What was it?
Well, first off, I was a mark of wrestling, as every wrestler is. I don't care what anybody says. At one time,
Oh, yeah.
you was a mark. You watched wrestling. I know that now that we're in the profession, we say, oh, we're not marks, that wrestling, whatever. But we was all marks at one time. I enjoyed it. That was in the early Hogan days, Macho Man, stuff like that.
The time I watched.
Yeah, back in the early 80s. I mean, I thought that was the heyday.
I believe so.
More so, my grandmother, who followed it from Dick the Bruiser on forward, she, there was a short time in my later teens where I actually lived with my grandmother for a while, and we would actually sit there and watch some wrestling. I believe it was on Channel 4 at the time, or what have you. But
Saturday main event?
yeah, Saturday night main event.
Saturday. Yeah.
Then they had Saturday Night Shotgun. Of course, then the Monday Night War started.
Yeah.
But, I was always involved, all through high school. Since probably third grade, I wrestled, played football. I started football when I was in fifth grade.
Yeah, you did pretty good in wrestling.
Yeah, I had a really good amateur wrestling background. Loved it. And after graduating out of high school, I missed a little bit of that contact sport, so I started doing the martial arts and did the Chinese Kempo. But my grandmother approaches me about the whole, well, you should try this pro wrestling. And at the time, I'm like, I don't know, I'm an amateur wrestler. These guys are going through tables. These guys are getting hit with chairs. So then the offer come from her that she would pay for it. So now the wheels are spinning. Okay, Grandma's going to pay for it. She really wants me to do this. So I was traveling. She did pay for the schooling. Thank you, Grandmother.
Who trained you?
That was Abyss and Roger Ruffin out of Cincinnati, Ohio.
And you all know who Abyss is, right?
Right. Everybody knows the monster. And Roger was a damn good trainer himself. He did a lot back in the earlier days of not so much TV exposure, but he wrestled with Dick the Bruiser and all the guys at the fairgrounds. And then he did some refereeing for the WWF, WWE. I was driving down there 3 times a week. And it was a lot of drive time. I mean, I probably had, who knows, to Cincinnati, you got hour and a half, 2 hours each way.
Yeah.
So I was putting half a day in just driving. So there was times I'd get there and I'd be a little tired, but shake it off, get in the ring, get my butt kicked around for a while, loving it. And then eventually I got what I think was pretty decent at it.
I think so. I think you did great. Oh my gosh. Now, I was able to wrestle Roger Ruffin a few times, and that was because of you,
right?
Of course. I remember my first knee surgery. I wrestled him the last match before I got my knee surgery done. And he really took care of
Yeah, I'm sure he took care of you. Oh, yeah. Roger is the most professional. All you got to do is say, hey, look, I got a bad limb here, and he's going to take care of you.
Yep.
Maybe even keep you grounded and work that limb for just a little bit, but he's going to take good care of you.
And that was early 2000s, right?
Yeah,
I want to think.
Yeah. I believe
that's when I started. It was around late 90s,
early 2000s,
and
right in
started,
there. 95 is where I'm going to go with, and then we actually broke off and started our own promotion. Well, I was a big part of CIW.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of guys that I have the utmost respect for. Andy Shane, Ray Orndorff, had the Bounty Hunters, had Phil, bless his heart, hope he's doing well with the COVID.
Yes, sir.
I know it's been a rough shot for him, but he's going to pull through. Stop pulling that damn tube out of your throat, and that'll help things. But anyway, the utmost
tough guy.
Oh yeah, Phil, I ain't having that. But the utmost respect for all those guys of CIW. Myself and Shadow at the time, we were running the roads together in the early days, being so we were both from Muncie, both went to Delta together. So we kind of connected, and we was doing a lot of training with CIW. And then CIW had their own thing that was mostly northern Indiana. We did bring it to Muncie, but Shadow and I decided to start our own promotion going forward, and that's when we brought Brian Mineker, and many know him as Brian Maddox on WLBC, the news guy. Yep. The three of us started a promotion, and we come up with International Pro Wrestling. And at one time, all the guys from CIW, like I say, I had the utmost respect for them, so they was all going to be part of IPW. And some of them still are. Andy Shane's still out there, kicking ass and wrestling on all the IPW shows. True professional right there. But like I say, a lot of it was we just wanted to get our own thing going down here and have CIW up there. But IPW actually branched off and became a big thing, and it was well known throughout the state. Had a lot of wrestlers that were chomping at the bit to wrestle for IPW.
We had wrestlers contacting us.
Right, yeah. It wasn't so much, and a lot of wrestlers, they want to get their name out there, but we wasn't going out there, going to different shows, trying to scout guys.
Right.
What we was doing is they would contact us, and we would get the background on them, watch some film on them, and we would pick out the most professional guys and use them.
This is before the internet, guys.
Internet, well, yeah. Back in our day,
there was internet, but there wasn't
MySpace.
YouTube,
right?
Right? There wasn't Facebook. There wasn't Reddit. Nothing like that. We had MySpace.
Right.
And newspaper. Knew how to use it.
Right.
And there was a newspaper.
And that's where most of our exposure came from, was either doing radio interviews or newspaper clippings, which on you and many of the early guys of IPW, I mean, I've got a stack of newspaper clippings and articles about everybody.
So awesome.
And that's where we got our exposure. Like I say, the internet, MySpace started out, everybody was trying to use it, but nobody knew what the hell they were doing.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
We kind of missed the whole internet ban.
Yeah.
We got our names out there, like I say, through Associated Press and through newspapers.
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
And that's still, to me, I think that's still the major way you get out, because there's a lot of people that don't have internet.
Right.
And all that stuff.
And not to mention people that are putting their shows or their matches out there on the internet. Who knows how much they've been edited.
Yeah,
they might look really good online, but then you bring them in for a tryout, and it's like, whoa, this ain't the same guy
I've seen.
Yeah. And you know as well as I do, there's been a lot of people that were never trained or was trained in a backyard that wanted to come wrestle for a good promotion, and it only takes us a second to realize who's trained and who's a professional and who's not.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Now, we got to, let's name drop a little bit.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
With IPW, can you remember all the major superstars that we had?
Oh, geez, wow. So we kind of start back with Abyss. Yeah.
Now, before Abyss, what was his name?
It was Prince Justice.
Yep.
Wore all blue, the king's hat. Everybody called him the giant blueberry.
Crazy mofo, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Really good.
He was scary.
Yeah. Actually, when he became Abyss, I was like, whoa, there's a big difference between your old gimmick and your new one here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we used him. We used Jillian Hall, another one that I trained with down there. Let's see, of course, we've had Nikolai Volkov, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the Iron Sheik, Bundy, King Kong Bundy.
Yep.
Jimmy Snuka.
Yep.
There's been a lot of them, dude.
There's
there
been
really
a lot.
And I'll tell you what,
That's
out of all of them, obviously,
love
I have the most respect for Abyss because of the training. But one of the greatest guys out there, man, that was a lot of fun, not only in the ring, but in the dressing room, was Hacksaw.
Yes, sir.
Oh, dude, he's just awesome. Great guy to hang with.
Now, did I ever tell you my story with Hacksaw?
No.
Okay, so the way I was trained is in the locker room, you don't talk to nobody, right? This is how you're trained. You don't talk to anybody. If they want to talk to you, especially the superstars, they'll come talk to you. And it's very true. So we had Hacksaw for at least 2 shows that I remember, kind of like back to back.
Right.
I didn't speak a word to him. And believe me, Hacksaw is like Piper to me.
Right, well, yeah, he was our childhood favorites. I mean, yeah, carrying the 2x4.
The nice guy, total badass and all that stuff. But I remember, didn't have my makeup on or anything. I remember walking by him, and he says, "Hey, Mr. Smiley, how you doing?"
And you felt like gold, didn't you?
I felt like gold. Oh,
he does. He remembers everybody, dude. That's one thing.
It was awesome.
I worked a show for him with Ray Orndorff, and I didn't think he'd ever remember me. A few months later, here I am working him again in IPW, and he remembered our whole match. I'm like,
wow,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, it makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put an impression on him and he remembers it, then you've done something right.
Yeah, I agree. Wow. Yeah.
I remember somebody else getting an invite from Dean Malenko's mom at one time.
One time.
Yep.
And I did not listen
She
to
come
it.
down, and I believe it was War Wrestling.
Yep.
And she showed up, and she talked to you, and you kind of wondered, is this the real deal, or what's going on here?
I didn't know her. She was a sweet, sweet woman.
Yeah.
And, you get a lot of fans that come up to you and all that stuff. And I'm pretty naive when it comes to wrestlers because I didn't watch it. I'm living wrestling.
Right.
So I don't want to watch it.
I don't watch
it tonight.
I don't even know who wrestles
day.
in the WWE.
So I had this lady come up to me. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I love your gimmick. You're so great." Mm-hmm. And I remember it. And she's like, if you got bigger, you would be in the WWF right now. And she pointed. I remember that. And you're right. I missed an opportunity.
We all have at one time or another, whether it be to having children. I've missed my opportunity.
Yeah,
I've had great opportunities, but I've also missed opportunities.
Now, you got invited.
I did, and that was actually by the Rock's dad, Rocky Johnson, bless his heart, he's gone now, but yes, I worked a show with him down in southern Indiana, and he could have, and I should have listened about doing big things, starting out at Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Yep, that's right.
And they actually pay you to train there, so you get a paycheck while you're training, something that we never heard of. We was always paying to train.
That's very true.
Yeah,
it's a good hobby.
It was also at the same time that my firstborn child was being born. He was born in 2001, so I didn't want to miss that opportunity. We're old. Yeah, we are old. But I didn't want to miss the whole opportunity of seeing my kids grow up, and I'm kind of glad. Yeah, of course, any of my son that was born at that time was like, "Dad, you're an idiot. Why didn't you do it?"
Right.
Yeah, but I guess when it's your firstborn, you're thinking totally different. Wrestling.
There's a lot of time that you miss.
Yeah.
Even the Weekend Warrior stuff that we done.
Right.
There's a lot of time. If you guys don't know, there's a lot of time that you miss with your family.
Yeah.
And you would have missed a lot because they wrestle 248 days a year,
right,
or something like that. They're always traveling.
And so with that, I still did the independent shows, and my son, at the age of 2-3 years old, is jumping up in the ring after we get it set up, ready for a show. I mean, this kid's jumping off top rope doing stuff that Doc Love wouldn't even think about doing.
I remember him being young, and he was doing a moonsault.
Yep. And he had a hell of an amateur career himself. He was a good wrestler.
Yes, he was.
And just recently, he has joined IPW, and I'm proud to say the kid's wrestled probably 3 months, did a couple good shows at the fairgrounds, and he gets the crowd going. He's totally different, just as I am. I'm actually a nice guy. I don't care what anybody says. Just ask me and I'll tell you. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty laid back and really not even outspoken as an individual. But when I get in the ring,
it's totally different. Now,
whole new ball game.
Do you agree with me that your gimmick, the person that you are in the ring, is really you?
Yes.
But it's what you're able to actually be instead of
something different. Yes, I totally agree.
The real life.
Yep. Especially when I was working for community corrections, dealing with different types of inmates and prisoners, so I always had to be on my utmost professional. Yeah, and there was a lot of times where they would anger me. I said, with any jobs, you get angry. But that was our chance on the weekends to take that out, portray that we're something that we're really not, and it just felt like a big weight off of our shoulders back then.
I mean, for you, wouldn't it be nice if you could just say, "Don't you know who I am?"
I probably did a time or two. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, you better realize who I am. I am Dr. Love. No, but it was a lot of good times, man. I ran the road with you. We had some great times. You wrestled a lot, dude. We were booked.
We worked a lot.
We were booked, and we worked each other a lot. Just like I would say the two guys that I was married to, married being that I'm always, no, not like that. But, first it was Shadow, because him and I was in the business together, and everybody booked us to wrestle each other. Had some great matches, and then you came along and finished your training, which I think you was probably trained by the best.
I think so.
Yeah.
Roger Ruffin and Abyss.
Yeah. Is that where he was trained?
I can say that.
You might have had a little background with him.
Because you got trained by him.
Right. Yeah, but then you came along and you and I were married to each other and wrestling each other all over the place all the time.
I did get trained by the best.
I believe so. And don't say Shadow.
No, it's you, man. I appreciate everything that you've done for me, because if it wasn't for Rusty, I wouldn't be in this business. If it wasn't for Rusty, I wouldn't have this little YouTube channel. It's, my admiration for you is just really big. We
appreciate that.
We not only did we not just wrestle together, and I got trained by you, we became very close friends to break kayfabe.
Right.
We was best friends for a very long
time.
We'd
portray out there to the fans that we hated each other and beat the hell out of each other, but we were hanging out through the week.
Yeah.
And I can say that for most of the guys that I did train.
Yeah.
Everybody that I trained, I mean, I've got respect for them. The guys that started and finished and had a successful, I became friends with all of them. And they say draw a line between friendship and business, but in this business, it's brotherhood.
Right.
Yeah. And you know who your true brothers are. You find out real quick who your brothers are, because it's a backstabbing business. Let's put it out there.
Very,
so people.
Very.
So
because we're dealing with it now.
Right. Yeah. Actually, some of our former students who wrestled here and we could have done big things for, they wanted to break off on their own, compete against us, which in the long run, there's been a lot of promotions that have tried that right here in our backyard, and I don't see this promotion going too far either. IPW, the new improved IPW, I don't know so much improved, but it is new.
Indiana Powerhouse Wrestling?
Yes, and it's still a great promotion. Still the same guys involved that was involved in international pro wrestling. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be around for a while, and we've got some really good students, my son being one of them, that all the fans can look forward to seeing, because there's going to be big things out of them.
We got Dalton Love. We haven't decided if he's going to be... And maybe this is up to you. What do you think? Do you think Dr. Love Jr. would work for you?
I try to take a back seat to my son right now anyway, because I want him to go out and, of course, I'm there for him. I
want him to make his own.
Yes, I want him to be his own person. But on the other hand, because of the potential and the wrestling skills that I've seen, I would be honored for him to be Doc Love Jr.
That's big.
But that's totally up to him. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to...
I'm glad
he's already wearing the Doc Love clothes, if those of you that haven't seen him.
He is, isn't he? It's fun. It really is fun for me to see the pink and the greens.
Coming back, the lime green. And
now, Now, here's what I want to see. I want to see the sex symbols come back. What do you think? Do you think that you can bring back the sex symbols?
I think I could bring back the San Francisco sex symbols with Quicksilver, but it's going to be a handicap match, and the handicap would be us in a wheelchair, probably getting thrown out of the ring. No, I mean, there's a lot of people that are still remember that was some fun times. San Francisco sex symbols and Quicksilver and I.
Bring back some.
Yeah, I mean, Quicksilver, another guy that's wrestled all over the place, been everywhere, and we just hit it off in the dressing room. That sounds terrible, but at a show, we hit it off in the dressing room. We got to talk. Yeah, shut up. Dr. Love is a gimmick.
You didn't work pink.
No, right. But no, we hit it off big, man. And somebody had us tagged together one time, and then we realized that, hey, this shit's working. So we just went with it and became because everybody knew we were sexy. But we went on to be the San Francisco sex symbols, and a lot of people booked us to wrestle as such. But I'm straight as they come. I may not have the wedding band on now because I'm going through
a divorce. All right. That's a whole different shit.
I will say, yeah, it's a whole different shit, but I will say I'm straight. I don't care what anybody says.
You did not wrestle like you wasn't.
Right.
It's just me coming out.
Well, no, and a lot of people say, okay, he's a San Francisco sex symbol.
We all
he's Dr. Love. Yeah, so, nothing against the guys that go out there and portray that, but it's not me.
Oh, goodness. So now, oh my goodness, you're looking very fit nowadays. Do you ever do you see yourself making, like they say, one more match? One more.
A lot of offers, brother.
And what okay.
Of course, wrestling is always in your heart, always in your blood. You know as well as I do. You've done it for 20 years.
It's so hard.
I mean, it's hard to walk away and say, I'm never going to see a wrestling ring again. I'm never going to be involved in wrestling. I mean, if I was, yes, I am working out again. I've lost the weight. I'm getting back in shape. I even got in a wrestling ring a couple months ago and about had a heart attack, but I'm getting there again. So I would be honored if I did do that one more match, but it would have to be with my son as a tag team.
Okay, and who would your opponents be?
It would have to be Mr. Smiley and his daughter as a tag team. Is she still around? I know one time she was out there in the ring with you.
I mean, hey.
You never know.
We never know.
Really. But no, I mean, I really...
I'll tell you what, I'd be honored.
As a tag team, I mean, you and... I would like to make one more go with my son and you and Shadow. I think that'd be kick-ass.
That'd be bad.
I've kicked both your asses, and you guys have both kicked my ass.
Yeah.
So I think the equalizer might be the young gun.
Shadow's looking pretty fit still.
Shadow's still...
He's looking pretty good.
He gets past that shoulder, and there's been a lot of people, how are we ever going to see Shadow and Dr. Love again? Yeah, you're going to see us at shows. We just won't be wrestling.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's getting past the shoulder surgery, and he thinks that he's still got the drive. He'd like to get in there one more time. But like I say, at our age, it's tough to just make a return.
It's because we have stayed around it.
Right. Yeah.
And there's no way that a professional wrestler can do this. You can't just walk away.
No.
If we was able to just walk away and never watch it, never smell it, breathe it, then we would be able to be okay with it.
But you can't.
It's a total fire, and if you get a chance to actually pick the older guys' brains, you'll understand.
Yeah,
totally would.
Yep, and that's one thing I never wanted to be is, bless all of them and bless their big hearts and their athletic ability, but I just didn't want to be the guy that was 60 years old still in the ring trying to do it.
Same here.
I mean, let's face it, man. There's some great guys out there that were in their prime for many years, but they hung around a little too long.
Yes, sir.
And now it's almost like, I don't know, you should have stopped when you was on top.
Stopped when you're on top.
And I felt I was there. I went through a lot of injuries at the time, and my body was beat up, but I was still going out. It was a year after I was the heavyweight champion. So I still felt I was on top of my game, maybe not in my prime, but I was still good enough at that time where I could walk away and the fans are going to remember the good Dr. Love, the Dr. Love that could wrestle. I didn't want to be the 60, 63-year-old guy that, can't wrestle, and everybody remember that.
Right.
Yeah, and not to mention my son. He has to follow up in my. He's got big shoes to fill. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but
he does.
I mean, people are
honestly,
expecting a lot
that's
out
like
of him.
One of my daughters coming up and trying to be me.
Right. I remember your daughter walking you to the ring, and she loved it. I do remember that, though. She managed to.
I mean, hey, you never know, guys.
Right. I think we could do it one more time.
One more match. What are you gonna do?
Right. But no, I would be honored to step in the ring again. And like I say, I've started working out again. I am hitting the gym a little bit, and my son's in the gym constantly. So I would love to, entertain the fans one more time with you and Shadow and me and my son. The equalizer would be the young legs on my son. Who you think's gonna be doing all the work?
This guy probably.
But I know you went through the body injuries, as have I.
I mean, we've been through some health issues, both of us. You know, I'm still dealing with mine.
Right.
You're coming out of it. I think.
Yeah, I'm getting so much better.
Like you are.
Yeah,
you're doing so much better.
Right.
We do go through a lot, guys.
It's tough.
It's tough.
I don't care what anybody says. It's an athletic sport, and you are an athlete. You're an entertainer, but you're an athlete.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people that say, "Oh, wrestling, that's not the real deal." So nothing was greater than when we opened the wrestling gym, and we could actually invite those people in and say, "Hey, just come try it."
Try it out.
Yeah, it's fake. They hit the ropes. 5 minutes. I'm done.
Yeah,
so,
2 weeks. It would take about 2 weeks.
Right. So we've seen a lot of people come and go.
Yes, sir.
And, like I say, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but you were one of my better students that I put out there, and you took over on the training. Now it's Pitbull, another student that I feel has done a great job. I mean, I could go on and on with the guys that have came out of the IPW camp, but there's probably between you, Pitbull, and Thug, that's probably 3 guys that I could consider could train anybody and make anybody good. There's been a lot of students out there, but
that's really big. That's
big to me.
Yeah,
it takes a whole different person to be able to train people, and all 3 of you have done it. I mean, if it wasn't for Thug right now, my son wouldn't be as great or as good and upcoming as he is.
Yeah, because I'm not. Everybody's got their styles.
Right.
Yours were more. Beat down, brawl,
and just a mouthy punk.
Mouthy punk. Mine was somewhat of a high flyer.
High flying, yep.
Faster, and Thug.
He's got the chain. Yeah.
So you put if you can get all 3 together, that's why it takes a few guys.
Yep.
And
that's what I'm saying. I mean, my son's got the best of your flying. You're helping him.
Yeah.
You've been a great contribution to his training. Thug has and Pitbull has.
Yeah.
Of course, his dad's always there on the sideline giving him all the advice he can.
Hey, he's got your confidence.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now. He's got a lot of you.
I look forward to big things out of him.
I watched the first show that you was able to be there with him, and I seen the proud dad that I expected to see.
Right. Right.
And that really warmed my heart.
I mean, I'm still hard on him as I was in amateur wrestling and football and everything else, but that's how I love
But a proud moment.
Yeah.
Man, dude, I was proud.
Right.
Because I watched him grow up.
Right.
He
was one of those little ring rats in the ring all the time.
Man.
Yeah, but, like I say, back to the old IPW, I couldn't be prouder of all the guys that stuck with it and actually finished their training, went out, and let's face it, we've got some good guys that came out of our camp.
Yeah.
And they're being booked all the time, and, I'm proud.
And you ain't got to make it to the WWF.
No.
Sorry, the WWE.
You're right.
Yeah.
And back in the day, it was WWE or WCW.
Right.
But, what is success? Some people measure success as, I got to be on pro wrestling, I got to be every Monday night. That's great if that's what you want.
Right.
I feel like I was as successful as I wanted to be just by being booked and traveling different places. I don't think I want to be on the road 7 days a week, 5 days a week. I was happy 2 to 3 days a week.
Yeah, me too.
And we may not have made the money that they're making in WWE, But let's face it, it really wasn't about the money when we started.
No, sure, no. I tell you, we got a lot of good memories, and I got him around to remember a lot of stuff that I don't.
Dude, I forgot a lot myself.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, but
we are getting older.
we're getting up there. Let's not use old anymore.
Yeah,
we're getting wiser.
That's right. Work smarter, not harder.
Right, right. But no, I think it's great that you've started this podcast because you're not only talking to the young blood of wrestling, but you're still doing a kickback to the old guys, which is great to me. Because some of the guys, let's face it, some of them go forgotten.
Yeah.
And it's nice for them to reappear. You know, even the old fans are like, yeah, man, I remember watching him. That was great.
Yeah.
So, like I say, and I'm so proud of the new guys. I mean, you got Sleechman out there, which his dad was the head coach for Delta Wrestling.
Right.
So I helped with the Delta Wrestling program, and Dalton wrestled there, and Sleechman, Jake's. They both were great, amateur wrestlers, but I see big things out of both of them now, too.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, he's looking good.
His dad was one of them that also said, pro wrestling, you're not going to do that pro wrestling. No way, that's fake. His dad came to that first show, he's hooked.
Oh,
It's just like everybody, let's face it, man. I mean, okay, so what if some of it is choreographed? What if some of it is staged? So is that movie that you're going to pay $12 for, but you're not live. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's all it took is for his dad to see one show and get hooked, and now he's like ready for the next show. Hey, when's the next show?
Yeah.
So hats off to Gary, though. He's a great wrestling coach, and I'm glad he's on board with the pro wrestling now.
So, where do you see yourself, I don't know, 5, 10 years from now?
Dude, I'm not even sure where I see myself tomorrow, honestly, sometimes. 5 or 10 years, I do expect to still be around this business. Again, due to my son and some of the upcoming talent. Not to face it, IPW is always going to be a part of me. But 5 to 10 years from now, I expect to be fully retired with my real estate business. It's going great. I'm in the process of handing it off to my kids right now and kind of semi-retired, if you will. But yeah, I hope to be full retirement and honestly just still going out there to these shows.
Enjoying your life.
Yeah. Riding the bike. I mean, you know as well as I do, you're a bike rider. When I say bike, I mean motorcycle. And,
yeah,
nothing like it.
Y'all pay attention, them guys out there on them bikes, man.
Yeah, please watch out. Me as well. Please watch for them.
Man, dude, I really appreciate you being on here. I hope this helps. One of the reasons why I want to do these interviews is that I want people to see that we are, although we hold these big personas, sometimes a lot of the guys hold these big personas, and you think they're kind of like untouchable and all this stuff.
Some of the guys think they are too. Let's face it.
That's very true. Yeah. But a lot of the guys, you see, his Dr. Love's grandma got him into wrestling.
Of all people.
Rusty got me into wrestling.
Right.
If he didn't come into my dad's shop that day.
I still remember your first... Okay, so I know you want to wrap this up, but let's get it out there for a minute.
Okay.
So I get this red-headed kid that comes in, and he's like, yeah, I want to do pro wrestling. I'm like, no, I want you to do it. And we was out the fairgrounds at the time. So we get you in there, we're teaching you moves, and every new student has to take the chop fest.
Uh-huh.
So we're sitting there, and it's me and Shadow, and probably Billy Ray, Sailors.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. It goes back so far, but we're all just laying the chops in there. You're swelling up pretty good about this time. Your chest is red. You got a few welts, but the whole time you're freaking laughing. I'm like, what's wrong with this? Chop him again. So we're laying him in there, and he's just sitting there laughing. So we're like, man, and we realized it was a nervous thing out of you.
Probably.
It wasn't just the chops, but it was doing moves and what have you. And at first, I really thought this kid ain't going to get it, man. I mean, thanks for trying out, dude. I'll see you down the road, and I hope you're a fan. But then all of a sudden, it just started clicking with you. And about that time, I was like, okay, it's time to come up with the whole gimmick for him. And it always stuck with me how you was laughing at me and laughing at us for chopping you.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, you want to be an ass clown? Mr. Smiley it is, the makeup it is. And it worked great, dude. I mean, fans loved it. They still love Mr. Smiley. There'll never be another one.
No. Now, maybe. We'll see.
Right.
I don't know. But yeah. That's how, yeah, guys. That's right. That's exactly how it was. I made it 6 months. He was going to fire me.
Right. I was going to fire you after 2 practices.
Well, there you go.
Maybe then I let it stretch it to 2 weeks, 2 months. And like I say, after a couple months, dude, it just like all of a sudden, it just all came together for you and clicked. Because let's face
remember that.
You wasn't remembering the moves. You was nervous. You was laughing. And, you know,
Yeah.
it was a tough time. And it is for anybody that starts. I mean, heck, if we all got it overnight, then we'd all be superstars.
Right.
We'd all be Mr. Smileys, right?
Or Dr. Love.
Or Dr. Loves, but no, I
That's who you are.
that was some fun days getting new guys in there, Billy Ray Sailors, all of them. And all of you guys went on to have successful independent careers.
Yeah, for real.
Nobody can badmouth you. And of course, I'm not going to put anybody out there as a trainer. I'm not going to put anybody out there to embarrass myself or my camp. If I don't think you're trained, I better not hear of you on any wrestling shows.
Right.
Once I use you on a wrestling show, I have confidence in you, maybe a couple wrestling shows, I will help you get booked from there.
Yep.
But you are not to go out there and say, I was trained by Dr. Love or I trained at the IPW Power Factory, because you go out there and stink it up, guess what happens to our camp?
Yeah,
we got the bad name. So, and you know that as a trainer too. I mean, we didn't put people out there early. Like you said, 6 months, we might be comfortable with you. Maybe it's a year for some people. We're going to start you out in a battle royal and work you from there.
And if you're killing it, 3 months.
Right.
You know, and honestly, I was very nervous to have Dalton out there.
Yeah, I was too.
I was kind of like, you sure you guys want to do that, you know, because it's a little early.
Yep.
And as we all know, we got to watch our heads in this.
We don't want the swollen heads.
Right. It's just not me as a trainer or Rusty as a trainer saying, I don't think you're ready. It's if you put out too soon, if you get blowed up too big, your head's going to do this.
Exactly. And then you think you know it all. You don't need training anymore. Because we've seen it out, people. That's the reason we mention it.
Yeah.
Now, we don't need to mention names. We know, some guys was throwing a belt too early or they was being booked in the main event too early. So they got the big swollen ego, the big head, and they thought they were trained and ended up being some of the worst wrestlers there are, honestly.
Yeah,
so,
that is right.
But no, like I say, I am proud of him. He is out there a little bit sooner than what the old school way of training is. But we also got to remember, once the new IPW started the training center back up, Dalton and Sleeshman were the only 2 students. So they got a lot of ring time. They got a lot of one-on-one. And they were surrounded by good old school wrestlers. Myself, Pitbull, Thug. So, yeah, they're fed to the wolves a little bit early, but they're not an embarrassment to anybody.
No, not at all. Oh, God, they
bring the crowd alive.
So,
yeah.
You know.
Couldn't be any more prouder.
They're very awesome.
Yep.
Well, we're going to try to end this now, I guess.
I won't throw no more smiley stories at you.
we can do this again, though.
Oh, I look forward to it, yeah.
Maybe I need a sidekick. Make him my sidekick.
Hey, you never know, I mean, 10 years ago I'd said never, but nowadays we're a little older, a little more mature. We took a shot together. It may happen.
But man, dude, it's an honor.
No, I appreciate it.
It's an honor in my life to have you in mine.
I appreciate that.
I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to you guys too. He's one of my biggest and best friends in my life.
And one of your biggest critics at one time.
One of my biggest critics. And if it wasn't for him too, there's a lot of things that I would have done.
Dude, we put wrestling back in Muncie, let's face it.
Muncie, big, bro.
Yeah, I mean, there for a long time, since Stick to Bruiser, wrestling was unheard of in Muncie.
Right.
We started running those shows, man, putting some good talent out there, and all of a sudden you've got 300-400 fans easily every show.
Easy. And we was running too. We was getting thousands.
Oh yeah.
You know, the fairgrounds don't remember us doing a show.
Well, that's because it's a whole new board from what it was then. So yeah, and the people on their board now, they probably don't remember.
We did have 1,000.
Oh,
fans
easy,
out there.
easy, yeah. And the new IPW's got the fair again, so it's going to be building from here.
I believe the new IPW will.
We did Jay County Fair, Blackford Fair, Delaware County Fair, Converse Fair, so we was out there. We was getting it out.
I think the Indiana Powerhouse Wrestling will be back on top.
They've got all the right people in place.
Just like our International Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
It is a different federation.
Right.
But
a lot of the same people.
A lot of the same feel for IPW is still there.
Yes.
So until that goes away, in my heart, it's still IPW.
Yep. As long as everybody's got the heart, it'll make it.
Yep.
Well, brother, I sure appreciate it, man. I couldn't be any happier to be on this with you.
I finally got Dr. Love on here.
Hey, I bet it's not like I ain't been watching your podcast. I've been seeing it, but I lead a busy schedule lately with my real estate business. But I'm just glad we got it to happen today.
Yeah.
And I look forward to it again.
So you guys, make sure you like and subscribe. It's Mr. Smiley Burris. This has been a Smiling Charlies.com's show. Production. But thank you guys. Like and subscribe. Share it to everybody. You all be safe. Love, peace, chicories, y'all.
Check out that next IPW show coming up at the fairgrounds.
See ya.